Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Greg Bresnitz, one half the host of Snacky Tunes. We have had the honor of being nominated by Taste Awards for Best Radio Show and Best Podcast. Please head to bit.do/STVote in order to vote for Snacky Tunes and other food favorites. Once again, that's bit.do/STVote. And a big congratulations to Heritage Radio Network for being nominated into the Hall of Fame. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Today's program was brought to you by Roth, Wisconsin, makers of the world's best cheese and pioneers in the U.S. artisan cheese movement. For more information, visit rothcheese.com.
Hi, this is Celia Kutcher, host of Animal Instinct, and you are listening to Heritage Radio Network, broadcasting live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. If you like this program, visit heritageradionetwork.org for thousands more.
We talk about food. Talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes. Where you can call me, shake me, and wake me. Leave the messages on my phone. You got a new boy living with you, so tonight this boy ain't home. If you say goodbye,
Snacky Tunes. I'm one half your host, David Bresnitz.
And I'm one half your host, Greg Bresnitz.
Together we make one full host of Snacky Tunes on Heritage Radio Network. We are joined by the amazing chef, taco slinger, man about town, Wes Avila. Welcome to Snacky Tunes.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Did you bring any tacos?
I get the question every single time. Every single place I go, yes, I do.
You should have made something that was less transportable. It's like if you just went into like filet mignons or like, you know, ribs. Well, I guess this would take.
Yeah. In today's modern age, you can pretty much transport anything. Do you actually like tacos? Because I heard.
Thanks for coming. It was so nice having you. We appreciate it.
So you are one of the, I don't want to say unique, but you are lifelong, born and raised Angelino.
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Los Angeles. Grew up in a suburb right outside of LA in Pico Rivera, and yeah.
How much does Los Angeles mean to you as far as like when you take a look on your whole life and when you wake up and see what you built and the food that you make, that you can trace it back to when you were a kid?
I think growing up here in Los Angeles, it's become part of me. Like I love the city. Like when I go out and visit all these other countries and other cities, and I see the things that I really like, and kind of picture myself living there. And you know, I really think about that, and when it comes back to it, like I love Los Angeles, and I don't think I can realistically ever live anywhere else.
For all the people who are moving here, like my brother, what is the mile marker year of becoming a true Los Angelino? In New York, it's said to be 10 years. What does it take to become a true?
I think once you drop your hometown baseball team and root for the Dodgers, I think you can consider yourself an
Well, I had to do that on day one, so my wife would marry me, so I guess I'm an Angelino. You know, growing up you grew up in Pico Rivera, correct?
Yes.
And that was a real smorgasbord of hodgepodge of food growing up, correct? It wasn't just like Mexican food or South American food, it was like
Mexican food. Pretty much Pico Rivera is like, my high school was like 90% Mexican, 8% other, and like 2% black.
Right.
That. But my school, where I grew up, was very Mexican, very South American. And you did have some stuff like some Thai food and things like that, but for the most part, it was Tex-Mex at home, fast food, and when you ate out, it was maybe something like Shakey's, something like that. Yeah.
Really? And so then when did you start realizing that there was another, like at what young age you start realizing there's a whole other world of food out there?
Well, actually, like there was basically two worlds. There was here where I grew up in Pico Rivera, and there was Mexico when I go to like Baja with my dad or my parents and actually eat some of the seafood down in Ensenada. I mean, you get 90-day stuff there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get like live clams and oysters and things like that. So that was definitely a part of my growing up. And then here in LA was like the fast food kind of Tex-Mex stuff. But other than that, like when I really realized like, fuck, there's like so much other stuff, that it was probably when I started culinary school and cooking like that.
Isn't that such an awesome moment when you go like, oh, I don't know anything,
yeah,
and what I don't know seems to be insanely delicious.
That happens every time I travel. Every time I eat somebody else's food, every time I visit another country or another culture and see like how different and they treat the same exact ingredient, it always blows my mind. It's always learning.
But it wasn't just food, also music played a big influence in your life as well.
Oh, music's always been a huge part of my life.
First album? What'd you buy?
First album that I bought, like, honestly, was probably the Time Life 1957 rock and roll compilation.
That is awesome.
1957.
That's a real answer.
That is a real answer.
You never believe it. People like, oh, I bought the Sex Pistols.
That's not Academy, yeah, you know, no.
My life.
I got really into Obama and like got into rock and roll.
Oh my god.
I started getting into old rock and roll. Like,
you know, when I eat your tacos, I taste the Obama.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
But see, for music, and so, at what point were you just like, I love music? Like, did you think that a career in music or DJing or anything like that might be your path to like creativity?
Well, I had cousins from Tijuana that were DJs, and they introduced me to like breakdancing and hip hop, and early '80s hip hop, and so they had like vinyl, and like it was always like vinyl. Even then, like when you get the CDJs there, and even less now these clowns with computers, but it's like. It was just like
as former clowns with computers.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, of course. You know, it can the understatement and appreciation of having like cool older brothers or cousins can never go unstated, especially when it comes to music and growing up.
Absolutely. I mean, and then it started from there. It started hip hop there, and then coming back to LA, it was like that's when just hip hop just was like the peak, you know, and got into really the house scene and then as I grew older, got into like, well, you know, like, you know, Track Out West, and you start hearing like what did they sample? I want to start eating records that they sample. You start going digging, get the best food, and you just get bit by a bug.
It's interesting to see the lineage of both music and food, and how I go like, oh wait, how was that dish made? Let me go back and see where their blood comes from. The same thing happens with music.
Yeah, absolutely. As you get people who are influenced by or they apprentice under somebody, they get their style a little bit, they morph it, they turns it to their own. Like in a couple of years, like in the last 12 years, I worked for different chefs. So you learn here,
what can you? I mean, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but just since you brought it up, is there something in your cooking life that you have held on to for a decade or more that now shows up in your trunk?
As far as
like an ingredient or a coach or anything like that?
Probably getting whatever ingredient it is that's the best and just kind of presenting it simply. That's one of the earliest lessons I had in the kitchen. It's like you can get a really beautiful piece of fish, but if you have a cook that doesn't know what he's doing, you can ruin it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's go back to you're in your teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
Food was not a big deal.
I played sports, so I ate like not very well. I ate a lot and worked out a lot. But music at the time was super important to me.
Yeah.
And that's when I started getting into DJing and doing house parties and being a big part of the LA backyard party fire scene.
Was that awesome?
Did
you ever DJing?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. How long did that take with DJ West?
DJ West.
So you after high school, you went out and actually became a teamster, right?
Yeah. My dad had been working at this place. Like he immigrated here like in the mid '70s. Started working at this factory in Whittier. That actually started in Sunday Springs and moved to Whittier and back to Sunday Springs. And then I basically just followed his footsteps. So he hated that. He did not like me a job there.
Really?
Yeah, because he's like, I didn't come to this country so you can do exactly what I do. So he did not like it.
So when you were after a few years being a teamster, you're like, I'm going to go be a chef. You're like, go cook.
Yeah, when I decided to leave, he was very supportive. He's like, I don't care how what you do or what you do, but he's like, go do something else. It didn't matter what, but just don't do what I do.
And as someone who wasn't into food and industry, how did you make the transition, or where did the inspiration come from to go to the Culinary Institute?
Well, I've always enjoyed eating a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I still, even in my mid-20s, I didn't eat at fancy places or anything like that.
Yeah, but being eating at a fancy place doesn't mean you're not eating well.
Yeah.
So what were you eating? What were you eating? And what did that transition start looking to? I think I can do this.
Probably when I go to Rosarito or Ensenada and eat lobster, or go to really good unicorn back in the early 2000s, for Thai food, and tasting things and trying to make them at home and being able to make them without looking at a recipe, just by memory. And I was like, maybe I'm not good at this. So
how are you able to what is that thing? That's a lot of people start to realize I can actually make this at home. What skills were you pulling from that you knew how to actually cook and break things down and make things to taste well?
It might not have been the techniques that I had. I definitely had zero technique, but as far as flavors and ingredients on the right way to do it, all right, I find the right path. This has this ginger, this has this, they have that, and being able to decipher and kind of put it together, but adding those skills until much later, actually going and training and learning.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick musical break, and we're going to then talk about your entry into the fine dining scene, and we'll be right back on Snacky Tunes. And we're back. We're back. We're coming live from you, Taste Talks LA, with Wes Avila of Guerrilla Tacos. So after you left the Teamster world and you started cooking, you went to cooking school.
Yes.
Which, there's an argument now that cooking school is maybe the past, but not the past. But for you, who it seemed like the right thing to do, just to get in there and to understand how it worked.
At the time, I didn't think there was any other way. I didn't think I could have learned.
Sure.
Or opened doors. And in hindsight, but now I would tell a young cook, if a young cook was like, I want to think about going to corner store, I want to learn these things, I'd be like, don't waste your time. At least not in America. It's too expensive for what we get.
I mean, it's $50,000, $60,000.
It's more than that. But honestly, go to a junior college and get that kind of general, bulk kind of cooking and some kind of basics down. I'm totally supportive about that. But if you're going to go to culinary school, I'd say go to a cooking school, go to one in France, go to one in Spain, get something different, throw something different in your belt. If you don't know the language, submerge yourself and learn it, because it will push you and challenge you. If not, you'll just be like everybody else. Because a lot of the kids that I went to school with that aren't kids anymore don't cook anymore. Like even immediately as soon as we got out of school, like I'd say 70% of the class was like, this isn't for me. And you might have spent 70 to 80 grand. And so like there's like professionally there's 4 people in the class of 80 that I know that are still cooks. But they're all like pretty high up, like some of their careers.
But I mean, if you look at food as an art, it's, kind of a creative field. Making in that creative field is tough. And like sticking it out, you could be a grinder. You could be on the line for 20, 30 years. But to like have a thing and do what you do, it's rare. Even for the most talented people.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is timing and just luck. Like, we started to do Guerrilla tacos. And to be completely honest, before a lot of people were doing tacos with sweet potatoes and tacos with ingredients like that. So we kind of got on like right on time, and then we started seeing other people like kind of like in other cities doing the same thing, which was really cool. And it became kind of like a movement, like the California thing.
Yeah.
So that it just kind of like, it just was time for this kind of emergence of food style to come out.
So you have a strong background in fine dining. How did that get started? A lot of chefs talk about like when they first stepped into the first like fancy kitchen. What did that do to your mind, your insights and sensibility? When did it start?
It started in 2005. I went up to Bears Cornell because I read about this restaurant in Bryant, and I happened to have time off. I went up and traveled up there and really enjoyed the vibe. Like we went in there and it was probably maybe 10 tables with like a couple deuces on them. So at the most there was probably 20 people in there.
Yeah.
And then when I went back to meet the chef, there was 6, 7 cooks.
Wow.
And it looked like a hospital room. It was beautiful, clean, white. There's no cleaning, no yelling, no swearing, no. You can barely hear what they're doing. It moved with like almost like ballet-like moves, So that like blew my mind. Like it doesn't have to be like a slop house, like like just like hack style cooking. You know what I mean? Like it was very elegant and very unique, and it really attracted me to want to push myself like that because it was completely different than anything I had been exposed to, even in culinary school at that time. So I went up there stage and I got invited to go and cook, and I moved up there.
And what was that? Was that, you would say, like a big transformative moment for you?
That was definitely a big transformative moment. Because like before that, I didn't really have any. It was two places I was going to go. I was either going to go to New Orleans and go cook, or I was going to go to Central California to cook. And I'm glad I chose Central California because that was literally the same August Katrina happened. So like I moved up to Carmel in July, so it was very possible. I was looking at this in New Orleans, and I was like, no, I think this is more my style. It's California. Like the chef, he's from here. He's doing some really interesting stuff, and so I decided to stay. And that's the moment that like after I worked there and like experienced that I really like that kind of high end of cooking. But one of the things that stuck with me in my career is I went and staged at Release. I met Brendan Collins there, and I remember he gave me advice that I'll never forget, and he said something along the lines, because I bounced around from different restaurants to Chicago and Atlanta, and he's like, Wes, if you stay in fine dining, just prepare to give up how you lived in Carmel, prepare to do something you it's much harder. You have to give up holidays, and basically everything that I kind of do, but really put in perspective was like, you will never, ever, make a living to pay your student loan doing fine dining until you get to a certain level, and he was absolutely right. So I basically kind of pulled away from that and just started looking for work that would actually pay my bills. And so that's kind of it.
So this whole time you've been cooking in California, did you ever start to think that you might want to go abroad or get out of the state to get a little bit more experience before you started your own in California?
Yeah, I didn't set out to start my own thing. I didn't have a plan like, okay, in 2 years I'm gonna start my own thing. It was more, I'm working with a chef and I want to keep getting more experience under my belt. And that's when I went to France. And then I went to Paris and was a senator for my son at Omni Class. And then
no big deal.
No, well, it's a school, and it's
just a school.
It's very, very intense.
Just Harvard, just a school.
I didn't speak the language, so I spoke a very broken French-Spanish hybrid, which I'm very cool with. And I was the only brown guy there, and so they were really cool. They find out where else in LA, and they're like, "Oh, you listen to your dog?"
No, I know.
Don't ask any more questions.
So you finished with Europe, and it seems like you have this passion for music, this passion for LA. You have this background, everything's built up. when did everything start to fall into place and you start to go on this own path, knowing that you want holidays off and can't do fine dining all the time? Like, when did everything start to coalesce into your current situation?
Well, it was almost by accident. I was working about 4 days a week at the Comptoir, which is a pop-up, which can be open a certain amount of time. So it started little by little, like my savings started getting smaller.
Sure.
And I had less and less money by like working these hours. So I was like, I need to do something on the side to like supplement my income. So that's when I went and started. I had a cart that I bought for a family party. We used this cart. I called up one of the owners from Handsome Coffee and I was like, I got this cart. Mind if I set up? He's like, yeah, bring on down. So I went on down. And
what year is this?
This is 2012. This is August of 2012.
Isn't it so nice when people are just like, yeah, can we, yeah, let's say yes.
Yeah, he was just like, yeah, sure, come on down. He was like, Carolyn LA is not going to be anymore, like they moved location.
Sure.
So we had that slot open. So I came in, started selling tacos, didn't know what I was doing at all, didn't have change, didn't have a tent. It was like 102 degrees, humid. Had a barbecue, like cooking on a fire. It was insane, but it was like awesome.
And then in the early days, what did the menu look like?
The first day, I'll tell you, it was garnish salad and chicken.
Just that?
Just that's it. And then like the week after that was garnish salad, chicken, and then potato and corn. And then after that, I was like, I asked some of the customers, like, if I got better ingredients, would you guys pay a little bit more? And they're like, yeah. So they went from $2 tacos to $3 tacos, and then started getting better ingredients and better ingredients and better ingredients and stuff that's harder to find, and started to source like wanting to get obscure. I had this guy that would, like, he'd have chickens in, what is this, not Boyle Heights, just north of Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights. And I'd drive up the hill and he'd give me like 4 dozen eggs that were like all weird sizes for like, $10.
Yes.
And so I was really into like looking, because I was only looking 2 days a week.
Yes.
I had the time to go look for cool shit, so.
And where else were you sourcing from? Where are you getting your mustard from? Where are you getting your other ingredients? And did it harken back like the days of like digging through crates of records?
It might have been something, because I really enjoyed it. I mean, at the time, like, trying to find the most obscure, like, all right, this guy has a bunch of cell-tooths, so I'm going to do all the cell-tooths.
Yeah.
This guy has, like, all these, like, half-moon scallops. I'm going to take all these scallops. So that's kind of, that's where I went with that.
We're going to take a quick musical break, and we're going to talk about Fluid Tacos and its continued evolution, and we'll be right back on Snacky Tunes. back to Snacky Tunes. You're here live at Taste Talks with Wes of Guerrilla Tacos. So you're down in LA. You're open 2 days a week. Sounds like sort of a ragtag, shuffle sort of setup. And what's the evolution? Because I think it's interesting that you started with 2 and then 3 and building a relationship with the customers. How did it continue to evolve until, what was the time frame from going from your cheaper ingredients to where you kind of felt it was a good place and you were serving the tacos at the quality and the price that you wanted?
I'd say about a month. It started because I was like, all right, I need something to separate from what everybody else is doing. You can get carne asada somewhere else, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So I have this training, might as well use it and get different ingredients. So I started incorporating seafood, I started incorporating more vegetables, and we started opening up in the morning, so we're doing that kind of breakfasty kind of stuff. So it really allowed me to push myself and do like different things. And I was the only cook. I didn't have anybody helping me as far as like cooking. I cooked everything start to finish, washed everything start to finish. So like my day was basically about 6 a.m. to about 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah. So that's a long day.
Yeah, because I'm prepping everything, roasting everything. This is my house. There's no commissary. There's no like partner that helped me like get this awesome space to do this prep. So everything's done in this little apartment in Glendale. Put it in an ice chest. Put it in my truck. Bring it down and set up and just do it immediately. And permits and everything.
And were the cops okay with that?
The cops were okay with it. That's why we had the Guerrilla Tacos, because they shut us down. They're like, you guys can't be here. No, let me see your permit. I was like, and I immediately like went like, yeah, I forgot it. He's like, you forgot your permit? And I was like, yeah, I didn't I was making the inspection. He's like, this is, you can't be open here. So like, we're gonna have to like move. We're gonna have to like shut it down. It was very nice, and we moved for another space. And then that space, the cops went. They were actually like, well, just move it back a little bit so people can walk by the street.
That's nice. And give us 4 tacos.
And it wasn't. So we were doing that for a year, and I loved it. I mean, I was wearing flip flops, not having to pay for any permits, not having to pay employees, anything. And so like when we got shut down, we were starting to get when we were really like getting really good press. At that point. And this is like summer of 2013. This is August, almost exactly a year. And cops came and they're like, you need to shut down. And we're like, well, can we just give away this food because I don't want to waste it?
Yeah.
Like, giveaways, just kind of go. But people were giving $50 tips because they knew we were getting shut down.
That's so awesome.
It was getting shut down. So the cops were like, no, that's it. Party's over. Like,
they started seeing the 50s.
Yeah, they started seeing that we were getting money even for the food. And we're like, this food's up. If you don't shut this down now, we're going to confiscate your stuff.
Yeah, shut it down. And so then so you knew at some point it had to get a little bit more formal.
Yeah.
And so how did that happen? Was it easy to do it?
No, I wouldn't say it was easy at all. I think it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Because like we went from doing this cart that's completely guerrilla, within 4 days of getting the food truck and getting every license that we needed to do. So we didn't skip a beat. Like they shut us down the next week. I left on vacation to Chicago. Well, in Chicago, I orchestrated and organized getting this food truck, getting my permits. And we drove it right up and we're like, because somebody called the cops to shut us down on that.
Oh man!
So
who was that? Never.
No, I have a hint, but I.
So you know this. And so around this time when everything starts to coalesce, there's this like unofficial movement that also starts to coalesce of altered California cuisine. Can you talk a little bit about that and like who else is part of that movement and what goes into it?
Yeah, it's kind of started like I'd say around 2012, 13, 14. Now it's like kind of the thing. It's like these chefs that are American, born here, but like parents are Mexican or from South America, and you're growing up with this kind of American feel, but you're very much in tune with your roots. And I'd say the big people that are part of it is probably like Ray Garcia, Carlos Salgado, and Eddie Reese. So like, I mean, they're doing their food, but with this training that they kind of got from being in the fine dining scene.
I mean, there has been that big argument, even when we look at Mexico City and Pujol and things like that, about like people think of Mexican food as this very like cheap like $1 taco, but it's actually one of the most complex, delicious. I mean, when you think of a mole that has 100 ingredients, like I'm sorry, the French mole sauce has like 4 ingredients. So you look at these ingredients and these sauces that have all sorts like how do you expect that it's not to cost more?
Yeah.
And how do you like especially combat that or champion that when people come to you with like this idea like, well, this isn't authentic? I can get $1.25 taco.
We've had that experience when we first opened it. We get a lot more people saying like, I can get these in Highland Park for $1.50. I was like, then go to Highland Park and go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's what am I doing? I'm gonna beg you to stay and buy like my fancy tacos. You know, so it's like, if you don't like it, you know, basically fuck off. You know, so it's like.
Well, did they then buy the taco?
No, one guy straight up like, I remember at the point that I already had like, I had people kind of like would say that, and I'd explain to me. At the time I was very much like, this is why, blah blah blah. And most of the time I
got 2 dozen different shape-sized eggs, and I beat them
together
for you.
Well, this one guy was like, do you know where you're at? We're in LA. I was like, I'm from LA. Where are you from? Yeah. And he's like, fuck you. Like, coming at me like that. And then he's like, well, these tacos are ridiculously expensive, blah, blah, blah. I was like, have one for free. Here, tell me what you think. And he was like, it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Did he buy a second one?
He bought a second one.
Good for him. Then he was just, I mean, like, I bought 2, but...
And then I started being a little bit smart about, you know, not having like that so standoffish attitude. And somebody was like, you know, this is pretty expensive. It's like $5 for this pork belly. And I go, give me a plate. They got a plate. Put a swoosh, put a little garnish, put this in here.
Yeah, I mean, I had, you know, when I went there, I had the uni tostada. I was like, you know, this is a plate if I went to a sit-down restaurant where they serve uni, like, this is going to be $15-$20. Easy. And was there anything in your experimentation that didn't translate at the taco?
A lot of stuff sucked.
Like what?
One that was, like, horrible that, like, I brought back, and it's actually really good now, is an eggplant taco. The first time I did it was roasted eggplant with fresh chickpeas and like this burnt tomato chili, and it just didn't work. And then it might have been where we set up too. We were at South Park at that point. We were set up in front of Cafe Dulce, and people did not respond. So I was like, yeah, this is bullshit. So we put it back on the drawing board, and I've done it like, you know, it's actually on the menu like right now this weekend. It's like eggplant with fried cheese, and it's just awesome.
That sounds like once you get that fried stuff, you got like a little texture balance that maybe gives it like a little bit more crunch.
Yeah, it just needs something. It's something that was missing. I mean, I've done stuff where it's like a complete nightmare, but you don't serve those things.
Yeah, but maybe eat them at home.
Yeah.
And have you gone back into fine dining kitchens or done any stages as you've done Guerrilla tacos to keep up that side of education?
Actually, no. Like my learning, I'm more into learning people's like rustic techniques and things that are. I try not to pay too much attention to trends because they come and go. Like for a while when I was like in the middle of my career, like in the beginning, it was a lot of everybody's about LBE, so everybody's speeding this, everybody's sharing this, and then for a while, and then after that, it was like, oh, it's cool to go forage now. So when you go to the San Diego Mountains and get fucking like mugwort to make beer, that's all the grocery, you know. It's dry, it's a crowd. We're not in this abundant land. I mean, in Northern California, I get it way more, but and then Wood Chef actually has his own time to go forage that morning and go. Like, you're not going to find very much stuff enough to serve at restaurants.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, people watch these TV shows and get so much influence from it that they don't let themselves just go to eat. And then it's cool to ferment things. We don't have to ferment things. Everything grows in California year-round, pretty much. So it's like, it's not really like I see and like getting different flavors and developing, and I think that's cool. But for like people need to be careful with these trends because these things come and go and they evolve, and like you're just like this flash in the pan kind of thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the now and the next. Chuck just got a makeover.
Yes.
Who did the art?
Vio.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He did our first truck.
Yeah.
And after careful consideration of my partner, we decided to go with Vio again, and he killed it. He did such a good job.
And do you find, what made you want to, I mean, the truck's iconic, and, you know, it's sort of like a beacon. I know our buddy Con was always like, when he's driving past it, he's like, oh, I see the truck, and I recognize the colors, and I, like, start to look for parking. But what made you want to sort of, like, do a fresh coat of paint?
Being from LA, it's always been, like, a part of it, like, the hip-hop movement, like, graffiti music, you know, DJing, even breakdancing, like, the elements, and it's always been a huge part of, like, myself growing up. So on the first part, we had Hex doing. Hex did, like, this graffiti, Guerrilla tacos on it, and it was very much a part of our thing. So, and then even the people who print up our shirts, there's like Hit and Run Crew here based in Los Angeles. They work with like, he'll do a run of shirts for us, like 20 shirts, and then that's it. They change another 20 shirts, and we change it. And it's frustrating to people because they can't get certain prints and things like that, but it kind of keeps it fresh, like how, you know, it's the idea we have like the tacos and things like that.
Do you find that, you know, I mean, now with the current state of food and things like that, that just serving up good tacos or good food anywhere gets you to a point, you know, those guys like a Hal Ray's t-shirt here, and like, it's really awesome that people are out and like, you're building like a brand.
Yeah,
just food, and like you look at these smaller places like the food trucks. It's like, well, I don't need to get it on a truck. We just need to build out like what we're doing and like have other sort of merchandise and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you find that that's an important part of your growth?
I think it's a very important part because it lets people support like, that they're down with like our food and like with kind of what we stand for and like just like being a part of Los Angeles. So like very much like LA, Los Angeles, like it's part of our branding. It really is part of our branding. I never thought about like our brand, but it was just kind of like, hey, this sounds cool. Let me do this. Hey, I know these artists. Let me get them to do this. And it was more of a just kind of a natural thing like that. And now it's more thought out. Like we should work with this guy because he did some really cool work for us. And so that's kind of
it's awesome. It's like seeing band t-shirts out. Yeah. It's like, oh, cool. Like we know about them. Like you waited in line. You got the chicken. You got the taco. You got everything. So what's next?
Brick and mortar.
Yeah. Why brick and mortar?
It's time.
It's time. It's time. Does the truck go away then?
The truck is gonna get blown up. It's just like it's not. I'm sick of the truck. I don't mind the kitchen being that small. I'm sick of the truck is late because I'm sick of the axle broke. The truck crashed.
Sure.
Somebody sideswiped us. Somebody like stole this from the truck. It's just like it just. So when people say like, oh, there's problems with restaurants, I'm like, I get it. I worked with those for years before I got this truck. And so when people think the truck is like, oh, I can go open this like little fancy whatever kind of food and it'll blow up, and it's not like that. It's so hard. It's such a hard business.
Can you say where it's going to be?
The brick and mortar?
Yeah.
For some good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How big?
Arts District. I don't know, how big is that? 2,900 square feet.
That's
awesome. It's going to have a patio, full liquor license.
When?
Yeah, when?
Not soon enough.
Summer 17.
Summer 17. Okay, so you can still catch the truck a little bit.
You can catch the truck for us, the truck for the next half year.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're already picking tiles and with the designs done and we have the space, it's going to happen.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited.
I got one last question for you. So based on the advice from the fine dining about give up your life, give up your weekends, give up everything, what have you found the lifestyle is like with the truck versus what you think you might have had with the fine dining?
I gave up more than I would have ever done with the fine dining. Like the truck is like literally attached at the hip. Like it's ridiculous how involved I am with it now, and it's like it's so much more. Being like the owner and stuff, it's basically.
But would you have changed the thing?
Fuck no.
Fuck yeah. Alright, well thank you everyone for hanging out. We really appreciate it. We have a live band coming up next in the studio.
And where can people find you, follow you, find the truck for the final 6 months?
Facebook, of course, Guerrilla Tacos, our webpage, and it'll link you up to our Instagram and all that good stuff.
You gotta do something like a shirt for every last month of the truck.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a no.
That was a hard no. That's okay.
That's actually pretty good.
Okay. Well, then that's a free one. That's our appreciation. Thank you everyone for hanging out.
Thanks so much.
If anyone has any questions for Chef, man in black.
Thank you. What can we expect from brick and mortar when we can't get on the truck?
Consistency. Like we'll have like the tacos that we're gonna do like on the menu that are set and rotate a couple out, and we're gonna have other toys to play with. So we'll be able to do like al pastor, and it's not just your basic al pastor. I have these ideas to do these things, and I've been working on. But yeah, a little bit more inventiveness on it.
Can we expect like every once in a while like a dinner or collab dinner at the restaurant?
Absolutely. The first like month is going to be a lot of collaboration dinners with all these chefs that I've done collaborations with over the last 3 years. So it's like calling all those favors.
Your playground's like gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes?
When you're not working, where do you like to eat in LA?
Usually find myself in my neighborhood. So if it's not like Canley, it's probably Porto's or
Porto's. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be volume, but it's like you get 90 pounds of food and like it's $12.
Yeah.
Here's 45 sandwiches. That's $23.
It's a beautiful thing. I love
it's so good.
I live across the street, so it's like hard for me to not.
Do you have like a zip line where they just like send the sandwich to the house? Any other questions? Anyone? That's good. Okay. Hey, well, thank you everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Check out the truck. Stick around. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Don't speak to me this way. Don't ever let me say. Don't leave me again. Don't leave me again. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Don't hurt me this way. Don't touch me this way. Don't hurt me again. Don't hurt me again. Don't hurt me this way. Don't touch me this way. Don't hurt me again. Don't hurt me again. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Don't let me make the same mistake again. Don't let me make the same mistake again. Don't let me make the same mistake again. Please don't let me make the same mistake again. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Don't let me make the same mistake again. Don't let me make the same mistake again. Please don't let me make the same mistake again. Don't let me make the same mistake again.
Have you tasted the world's best cheese? Grand Cru Surchoix is the 2016 World Cheese Champion. Our partners at Roth, Wisconsin make this gorgeous Alpine-style cheese in the rolling hills of Greene County, Wisconsin. Grand Cru Surchoix is produced by hand in Swiss copper vats and finished by aging on spruce planks. The quality milk and careful craftsmanship bring out the award-winning light floral notes, nutty undertones, a hint of fruitiness, and a mellow finish. Perfect with Riesling and Muscat, Grand Cru Surchoix is a guaranteed hit for any occasion. Check out their other offerings at rothcheese.com. You'll discover Buttermilk Blue and their newest release, Prairie Sunset, the golden-hued love child of Mimolette and Gouda. You'll also find recipes like the raclette Reuben and tomato tartlets. Everything you need to know about the world's best cheese is at rothcheese.com.
Welcome back. We got Fletcher C. Johnson and crew in house. Boys, you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm John Doherty, I play drums. Todd Martin, I play the bass.
And I'm Fletcher. You might remember Todd from the last time we did the show.
I do.
He was the paper cutout that we brought in.
Oh, yeah. Well represented. If anyone wants to go back and hit pause on this episode, it was episode 95, and it was almost like 4 years to the day.
Well, it took us 4 years to do the new record. So
okay.
That's about how that works out for us.
That is about how it works out. It was a post-Thanksgiving episode, which is what this will be as well. So welcome. How's your cooking been? You couldn't cook 4 years ago. Can you cook now?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I have less.
That's what people
cook less.
Cook less. That's what people were kind of. That's the question they wanted us to ask for your follow-up.
Yeah. Putting me on a cooking show isn't the wisest thing.
Well, you're on the music part, so it's the second half.
Okay.
So Lessons in Tenderness, new record.
Yes.
Really interesting. So 4 years. Take us through those 4 years. A lot of couch surfing, a lot of wandering. How did the record get started, or the process of it getting made?
It was me and John. John's the newbie because he's been in the band for about 2.5 years. But me and Tommy, who was the old drummer, we started working on Lesson in Tenderness. And Todd. I don't know, just the slow. I write songs. I can write about 7 minutes worth of music per year. That's what I've learned.
Well, I mean, your songs are only like 2.5 minutes anyway, so that's like 3.5 songs.
That's
a good ratio.
There's a lot of bad stuff that I write, but it's about 7 minutes of quality music
It's not 7
per year.
continuous minutes.
It's not there's a lot of there's bad breaks, and then.
So you ended up, you took a tour to Texas and California. You ended up living in a practice space in Orange County. What was the name of the practice space, and what was it like living in there?
Well, I would just went. So we were on Burger Records, did Salutations, and Burger Records did Lesson in Tenderness, who are good friends of ours and my favorite label.
Amazing label.
And I went to Burger Records, having never been in the store. It's a record label and a storefront. So I went out there. I just decided I was going to live with them for a while. I liked them. I hadn't physically met them, but I talked to them on the phone. They'd done a record, and I really liked everything they were doing. So I went out there to live with them, but I learned that they lived in the store. Like, they didn't even have apartments themselves. So
do they have bedrooms?
They don't, no. One of the guys mostly sleeps in the back room of the store, and the other guy sleeps in a van that they own. In the parking lot behind the store.
I remember when Darren and I, our first apartment, if you want to call it was essentially a room in New York, and there was one odd, just random piece of drywall that was in a corner. And so Darren shoved a mattress in there, and I just slept in the living room, and that was fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was fine. So
you're doing better than Sean and Lee are doing from Burger Records.
I mean, is it now just like a point of pride? I mean, I feel like Burgers should be doing well enough that they could get at least
they just sink all the money back into right about the time I think they could get a nice apartment. There's another record they hear and they want to put that out too.
Or another festival.
Yeah.
So where did you live? If they were living in the back of the store in a van, where did you?
Well, we know from New York City about having rental practice spaces, which isn't as necessary in Los Angeles because people have basements and things there that we don't have, where you can make a lot of noise. But I remember sitting on the couch. I had a book that I pulled off the rack. I was slowly realizing that staying with the Burger Records guys was not going to work out for me. And
did the van have a back seat?
What?
Did the van have a back seat?
We had Lee's sleeping in the van, so he had a back seat. But you don't want to share a van. I had my own van.
Okay.
I just looked into practice spaces because we were finished. There's a member of the band, Adam Meisterhans, who plays on the Lesson in Tenderness record, who was from West Virginia. He's living in Nashville now as a studio musician. He's a really excellent player. And he had done the tour, and I wanted to get him on the record because he knew all the songs. So it was also about the cheapest way to live and get Adam Meisterhans to play guitar on the record. So I just looked up practice spaces in the Orange County area, which is where Burger Records is, and ended up living in that practice space for about 2 months.
Did anybody say anything? Did they know, or were you just very careful?
No, they really didn't care. I almost lucked out because the practice space was going under. They had just lost the lease, so when I asked if I could live there, they said you can, or not live there. If I asked if I could have a space, they said, well, we only have it for 2 more months. But the thing about that was there's a lot of bands that have been there for years, and they didn't like the fact that they were getting kicked out. So there was rowdy parties in there almost every night. I mostly actually slept in my van outside of the practice space and then would work and hang in there all day. But it was...
And you talked about recording the record, recording the instruments during the day, and then recording the vocals at night. What made you split up the process?
Necessity, because it was so loud. I mean, even the night was like really late night. It would be when all the partying was done, when everyone went to bed. I would hang at Burger Records in the back room and watch TV and stuff till like 4 a.m, and then go back over to the practice space and see if someone was still making noise, and then record all the quiet stuff, do the tambourines and things like that.
Can we hear a song?
Absolutely.
What are you going to play first?
What should we play first? Yeah. This is the last song on the Lesson in Tenderness record, and a song that we've never played acoustically before. Involves a lot of rocking, so we'll see what we can do.
After living in the van, you moved to LA to mix the record, right?
There's a point, I mean, in the practice space, there wasn't a shower or anything. There's a bathroom. I had pretty good athlete's foot going on, so I was washing my feet in the sink a lot, and I remember going and playing a show, like an acoustic show at a college that they invited me to do, and just like begging to go into the dorms and use the shower. So actually,
how much begging? Like, please, or just like, hey, just a casual, can I just check out the showers?
It was more like I just kept hanging out with them. Like that, like I was like, all right, we're good here. And then they were talking about like a senior art show, and I was like, cool, man, what's going on with that? Like, I loved senior art shows. Let's check that out. And then like just kept hanging till I was eventually back in their room.
And how was the shower?
It's amazing.
So from there, watching and sleeping in the van in the practice space.
Well, I went up to LA. I have friends up there as well. We got our mutual friend Taylor Cohen,
TC,
filmmaker, director,
lover.
Well, I crashed with him for a while, which meant he was already crashing on someone's couch. So I started crashing behind the couch that he was already crashing on. So that was a pretty good run there. They had a lot of guys in that house, so you can squeeze in.
Yeah, no one's gonna notice.
One more guy behind the couch with the guy crashing on the couch is gonna work. But eventually, a buddy of mine went on tour, and I got to take his room. A dude that I played in a band with, Kyle Thomas, let me take his bedroom for a while, so that's where I did a lot of the...
Yeah, I saw that great photo of you, Matt, and him from like your first tour together back in the day.
Yeah.
So being at his house, you also had access to some of his gear and equipment.
He didn't have a lot of stuff at the time. He had a beautiful backyard with a palm tree that was an umbrella that blocked all the sun out, and it was the true Los Angeles experience. He had some quality weirdo roommates who I like a lot, and a blind cat, which I didn't realize was blind the whole time I lived there. It wasn't until I was just always doing stuff with cats. Are great. They don't need eyesight, I learned. We watched the season finale or the series finale of The Office together, and the cat got it, and it couldn't even see.
Sorry. So did all of these kind of rotating influences and settings help shape the sound of the record, or influence you, or all the kind of downtime that you had of just kind of hanging out allow you to evolve your sound from the previous release?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like I said, it was 4 years between releases. There's a lot of evolving sounds already. Being out there was good because there's a lot of bands from Los Angeles that I like a lot. So being surrounded by contemporary musicians who are doing stuff that I'm into is cool. I think some of the earlier records were more influenced by 60s and 70s bands, and I was catching up with what was going on right now.
Who were some of the bands that influenced the sound on this record?
A lot of the contemporary folk bands, a lot of the burger bands, I'd say. I was hanging with the guys in the Memories, and I like their tunes. We did a tour when we were doing the West Coast. We were on tour with Natural Child, who I'm a huge fan of. So all of their sounds have come in. It's other people are influenced by those earlier bands, but they're doing their own thing, taking it in their own direction. I want to do that. I want to stay contemporary, but also love the music that I've always loved.
Yeah, and what sounds did you layer in? Because, I mean, in the last time you were here, you talked a lot about the Beatles and the perfect sound writing and the 60s and 70s influence. What actual noises or sonic soundscapes have you added on top of the music that you already love and make?
Well, I was the hardest thing is when you don't play keyboards and trying to get some tasteful synths, I think. There's a lot of untasteful synthesizing going on these days, so you need to find just the right tones that make sense with what you're doing. I think when you're trying to incorporate it into live instruments or acoustic instruments, there's certain sounds that clash, and there's certain sounds that work perfectly together, and there's other sounds that clash perfectly. So,
Can we get another song?
Absolutely.
What are you gonna play?
Do Always. One, two, three, four. leave on time. But you always let it slide. You say, Fletcher, you're always running way behind. Come on, we're going. I can't recall your friend, but you would pick me over there. What's her name? Can't stop complaining that other one is always hating. I always wanna love you. I always wanna love you.
One of the greatest things to come out of the new record is the Water Than Me video. How long did that take? Well, for people who have not seen it, it's you essentially just moving your hips, walking down the street in multiple locations, in multiple clothing outfits and changes. How long did it take for that to be filmed? And how did you film it?
Me and Johnny D, the drummer of the band, shot it in 2 days. It's an idea I had forever, and I kept throwing it out there for talking to you, Taylor Cohen, to many director friends, and they were like, well, okay, that's a good idea, but what about this idea? And I said, this is simple. I think we can do it. And John said, I got a better idea. And then we talked about that idea, and then I would convince him to still do this idea. And I thought,
what was the idea that lost?
We got...
Well, a slow motion video of you going to be on a hoverboard and everybody kind of throwing things at you.
John has this still might come out, so
okay.
It's a slow. He wants me to get broken up with, and then walk outside of my apartment, get on a hoverboard, and then go down the street while rows of people on either side of the street throw food at me.
I'd watch that for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It's actually for the last song that we just song we just played. Is
perfect. That's perfect.
It's just us. Basically, he just wants to strap something onto the bed of his truck that he thinks he can nail the video in one try.
And throw stuff at Fletcher.
Yeah. Just get it out there.
If that thing you strap on the back of your truck is not aligned just perfectly, there's a lot of food that's going to waste.
Yeah, that's true. But you could do a test run, like pantomiming the food being thrown. Yeah.
This is why we come on
food
podcasts, because to get those different food ideas.
Yeah, there you go. You're not a food guy. But for the video, I mean, it looks like it's actually shot over the course of a year just from all the outfit changes, 2 days. And
I brought 2 gigantic rolly suitcases of outfits. And there's a point where I'm going up an escalator. Now,
there's a suitcase there.
There's a suitcase. That's one of the suitcases. Now, what you can learn from is that Forever 21 doesn't care what you do on their escalator because we tried to nail it, so we were crossing at the same time. We probably did it 4 or 5 times, right?
We were in there for like at least 25 minutes.
Yeah, we were 25 minutes. Not one employee questioned what we were doing when we were like signaling to each other on the escalators to say when we were going to get on. And also, if you look at it, there's a woman dancing on the escalator that John's on with the camera, and that was completely unplanned, but it's the greatest part of the whole video.
It's really good. I did actually wonder what that suitcase was on the video because it's just so weird.
It's one of the 2 suitcases I had that was full of outfit changes.
And did I see that your wedding made it into the video as well?
My actual wedding, yeah. My brother also helped shoot it as well, did some good work, but probably the best thing he did was he was, groomsman. He was my only groomsman. He's
best man.
The best man.
The groomsman, the best. I mean, he's got a lot of hats.
When you go to City Hall, I don't know, you need a guy.
Yeah, you need one guy.
He was my guy.
He's a witness.
And he said, I know this is your wedding, but you're going to really want this shot. And so he made me do my hip wiggle dance at the chapel.
I mean,
City Hall.
Your wife looked like she was a good sport.
She looked grumpy, but that was even better.
Yeah.
She is a good sport.
She is a good sport. Well, I want to make sure we have time for one more song. Thanks for coming on the show again. Hopefully, it won't be 4 years for the next time. Where can people
We just got out of the recording studio doing a new EP.
Last
week.
Oh, perfect. So where can people find the record? Find you? See your shows? Offer you a place to shower, etc.
We're on all the music sources if you want to listen to the tunes, and we don't have anything coming up. We're going right into the holiday season here. So.
Yeah. By the way, when we
play around New York a lot, and Bryce just asked us to go play this festival he set up in Atlanta, so we'll be hopefully down there in March.
Cool.
As well as doing a little bit of touring down there, and we play around the New York area a lot.
Where we last left you, final question. You were working on your Twitter game. Anything to update 4 years later?
I mean, I get one good one like every 4 months.
That's on par with your music writing.
Yes, you're right. That's
Okay, cool.
That's my entire artistic style.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Well, big thank you to Guerrilla Tacos. And if you haven't done it yet, we are nominated for Taste Awards for Best Radio Show and Best Podcast. If you go to bit.do/STVote, that's bit.do/STVote. We'd really appreciate it if you voted for us. Vote twice. Podcast and radio.
Vote for Snacky Tunes.
Thanks. Well, thanks for coming on. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. What are you going to take us out with?
This is a song about, I work night shifts. I live the nightlife still. And my wife, she works days. So this is a song about her letting me sleep because she's always trying to wake me up in the morning, and that's rude.
Right. talk about food, we talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content and to hear about exclusive events, subscribe to our newsletter. Enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at heritage_radio. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Rate the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join our community by becoming a member. Just click on the beating heart at the top right of our homepage. Thanks for listening.